Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. So Triple G, a lot of different opinions on him right now after the Canelo loss. I believe the consensus is he looks a little bit, looks his age just a little bit, right? I personally think Triple G should have never left Abel Sanchez. Did a video on that. I'm not going to get into it. But nevertheless, he lost. There's no argument about it. There's nothing controversial about it. Canelo beat him. But that being said, Triple G looked happy at the end of the fight. And it's almost like an Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor situation. You know what? I wasn't able to unify this division. However, I'm already a unified champion somewhere else. So, not a big deal. I didn't really lose anything. So it's a win-win for me, in my opinion. I get paid a whole bunch of money. I still go back, I still leave the ring as a champion in another weight division, and I can go on, and there's still big fights for me. And that's how Serrano seemed to have looked at it, and that's how Triple G almost seems to be looking at it as well. But that being said, there are 5 fights for Gennady Golovkin, who's 40 years old now, right? Or in his 40s now, because he's refusing retirement. Now, a lot of people are calling for him to retire after the Canelo Alvarez trilogy loss. But that doesn't mean he needs to. He can do what he wants. He still seems to be in pretty good shape. I personally think, he just, well, I put it to you this way, right? Abel Sanchez came out and he said he's not going to reach out to Gennady because he doesn't want to disrespect Banks. And he just thinks that's not an up-and-up thing for him to do as a trainer. But Sanchez, in an interview, said he was disappointed in Golovkin's performance. Now, I'm reading in between the lines because Abel Sanchez said that he hasn't watched any of Golovkin's previous fights since Golovkin left him. He said he's just seen highlights. He's just seen clips. Now, we all know that's bullcrap. You better believe Abel Sanchez probably had a little team with him, and they were glued to the television watching Gennady. And as Gennady's in there putting forth a lackluster effort or looking confused or just not looking like the animal that was created under the tutelage of Abel Sanchez, that Sanchez and his teammates are sitting there looking at, pointing at the screen and laughing or pointing and just, having a field day saying, I told you so, he shouldn't have left me. So Sanchez can save that for somebody else, right? But he said he did watch this fight with Alvarez. And he said, well, they're watching it. What I took from that is he felt like the only one who can help Gennady Golovkin is me. And he said some of the things similar to what I say. I just say it differently. Where I say, let a lion be a lion. Don't try to turn a lion into a pussycat. That's the same thing Abel Sanchez was saying. But the way he worded it was, Golovkin is an aggressive fighter who comes forward on the front foot. He looks like he doesn't have power now because he's trying to box. When he was training underneath him, Gennady Golovkin would come forward and on that front foot and let go heavy shots early in the fight. And he would hit guys with stuff that would make guys think twice or give them that look on their face like, what did I get myself into? And he said Gennady he hasn't shown that in the fights he's been in since leaving him. And Abel Sanchez is 100% correct. We've all observed that. And I think the consensus is that Gennady Golovkin is no longer seen as a threat because he's getting hit and he's not hurting people like he was before. So everybody wants to fight him. I personally think if Golovkin wants to make a change right now, I think he should just take a deep breath, blow it all out, and go back to Sanchez. But as men, we're prideful people. Danny Jacobs went back to Rozier, but he had already spent a couple fights with this other trainer, and the performance wasn't what we were hoping for from Danny Jacobs after he reunited with Rozier. Should have never left him. But I think Golovkin, he needs to get back with Sanchez. But Sanchez has already extended the olive branch. I'm here, but I'm not going to reach out to you. Now, we'll see if someone from Gennady's team reaches out to Abel Sanchez. But I think if Gennady's going to continue with his career, I personally think he needs a new trainer. But that being said, let's get back to him and these opponents that he's talking about fighting, because there's 5 of them right now, man. So we know he jumped to super middleweight for that trilogy with Canelo. And in 2017, they fought to a draw. Now, still a lot of people out there, mixed opinions on who won the first and second fight. I say he won the first 2. I'll always say that. But they were close, but I give it to Triple G. But, you know, him fighting now, he's letting us know that, to remember that he's still the champion at 160, and he wants to come back, and he wants to come back and fight guys who are going to give him stiff competition. He doesn't want touch-ups. So he was saying that there's a rundown of opponents who could be next for him. And in an interview, he was talking about that. And of course, the first name that came to mind, which all of us are probably thinking about, is Jermall Charlo. But there's a couple things with Jermall Charlo, right? We know Jermall has a belt. We know Jermall can fight. But he's inactive, man. Right? Jermall Charlo and Demetrius Andrade, their situation is almost the same. Doesn't matter who's more of a draw, who's more of an exciting fighter. Jamal's not Jamel. I don't know what the deal is with Jermall. But he's just not active, man, and it's frustrating. So as much talent as Jermall has, him getting in there with Triple G, if Triple G can make some changes to his style, and what I mean is just come on the front foot, be a bit more aggressive. But he can't get hit with those big shots by Jermall. He was getting hit with some shots by Canelo. Canelo didn't throw a lot. Early in that fight, it was a lot of respect, but Canelo hit him with an uppercut and a couple clean shots. If Canelo would have let more shots go, he could have probably got Gennady, he could have probably knocked him down. But then again, Canelo gets tired too, so Canelo was smart to kind of, you know, not push on the gas as much as probably a lot of us think he could have. But we know Canelo can fatigue, and you saw in round 9 when Gennady Golovkin went left hand crazy, that he still had gas in the tank. And if Canelo would have winded, Gennady would have beat him down and probably got the stoppage, because Gennady like he had more stamina than Canelo in that fight. But for Jermall Charlo, one of those things where I just don't think Gennady can afford to get hit by him. But still, Jermall Charlo at 32 is one of the biggest stars in the middleweight division, man. And he's the current WBC champion. Golovkin has also finished the fight on his DAZN deal. So that means that he's free to accept an offer from Charlo's PBC stable. Now that's real talk. And that's good for us boxing fans, because that gets them a step closer. Because where's Triple G going to go now? He got the big fight he wanted. He got the big payday, right? Not sure about all that the pay-per-view numbers, and if he really made, you know, $20 million or more. Canelo made that 40-something million or more, because they were counting on those pay-per-view numbers to hit a certain price point. Now, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. All we know is what these guys report. Some people are saying DAZN lost $20 million on that fight. I don't know. I think these guys have budgets and they can afford certain guarantees, but anything above the guarantee, that's where they hope for the ticket sales and pay-per-view sales and DAZN subscriptions, new subscriptions to come on board, and that's where they can bridge that gap. But I'm just not sure how everything worked out. But I do know this for a fact. Gennady Golovkin made more money in that fight, no matter how poor the pay-per-view sales were, as far as the pay-per-view sale projections, right? He made more in that fight than he'd make against Jermall Charlo. So Gennady Golovkin can retire. The man lives on the beach, he's chilling. He's just out here, man, just milking the cow right now. And that's what they should do. When you get to that point, you're on cruise control, do it. That's like me. I did 25 years in the military. I'm retired. You know, and I get disability. I'm on cruise control. So anything I do now is milking the cow. You know what I mean? So I think once people are in those positions, if you need to take some time off, then do that. But at some point, get back out there, man. Get back in the fight if you can, if you have the time, if you're healthy. So Golovkin looks like he's still healthy, still in the fight. He still has the time. So why not? But now, for him to get in there with Charlo, this is the question. We're talking about pay-per-view, right? Golovkin's going to want plenty money. Charlo's going to want plenty money. I honestly feel Triple G Charlo can't do any worse pay-per-view wise than Triple G Canelo in the trilogy. Now, for those of you who are saying, oh, that's bull crap, Hood doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just out here throwing crap to the wind. No, I'm not. Look at it. Let's be real. Who wanted to see Triple G Canelo 3? Who wanted to see that? Eddie Hearn is the only person who wanted to see that crap. The Zone's the only people who want to see that crap. You know why? Because they're over there struggling because Eddie Hearn blew that $1 billion. So now they're just looking to put together fights that are home runs. And they just figured Canelo and Triple G too big. They were. Canelo's still a big name. Triple G's still a big name. But the names don't carry the weight they did before. It just doesn't. Yeah, there's still huge draws, but they just don't, man. Okay? So then they figured they were going to get this 1.5 million pay-per-view buys. That's just not how this worked out. And they were wrong to project over, in my opinion, 850,000 pay-per-view sales for this fight because the excitement for it just wasn't there. There was really no promotion, man. So when I say Charlo, Triple G can't do any worse, and you say, oh, you're crazy. No, I think it may do better. You know why? Because people would want to see that because it's something new and fresh, and we know what Jamal Charlo brings to the table. We know what Triple G can bring to the table. But we also know Triple G looked old. So I think they may hit 500,000 pay-per-view buys. To me, that's a success. 1 million, I doubt it. You know, Jamal Charlo, he's still not a pay-per-view star, but he's a name, and it's something fresh, something new, and that would be a fight that would be highly competitive, and Charlo would finally get the big fight that he's been asking for, but he's been out the ring for a while. But at the same time, man, when you're talking about putting guys in the ring for these pay-per-view mega fights, and they want all that money. You know, you just got to take time to promote it, man. And I'm not sure if Gennady's really going to want to get in there with a Charlo, man, because Charlo's a big boy. But at the same time, Gennady's not afraid of no one, and he still wants to keep fighting. But he getting there with Charlo, man, that could be the fight that puts his ass into retirement. But you never know. If he makes the change, he gets back with old Abel, the mustache Sanchez, it may extend his boxing career a little bit longer. Okay, so next one is Chris Eubank Jr. Look, if he goes in and fights if Chris Eubank Jr. annihilates Conor Benn, and then Eubank Jr. is able to secure the fight with Gennady, and they fight in England, that's going to sell plenty. That's a good fight to make. I don't know why no one wants to give Eubank Jr. a big fight. I just don't understand, man. He's been chasing the fight with Golovkin since 2016. But the talks between those guys broke down, man. And now he's returning, like I said, against Conor Benn on October 8th. Conor Benn's 25 years old. They're fighting in a 157-pound catch weight. But the middleweight is so confident that he already is pursuing Triple G. The middleweight I'm talking about is Eubank Jr. He even went on to tweet that Triple G had a great run, come back down to middleweight, and let's fight for those belts you still have in December, or just pass him over and I'll look after him for the next couple of years while you enjoy retirement. You earned it, champ. And I think there's some sincerity there, and there's also a little bit of sarcasm, like, hey, just give me the belts of a real young, active fighter to defend them. But at the end of the day, Eubank Jr. can fight. He's experienced. He has Roy Jones in his corner. He's made the changes necessary to kind of breathe life back into his career. And he's been looking very good. Now, Eubank Jr. against Triple G, right now, I think that's a 50-50 fight. Eubank Jr. against Triple G, the same Eubank Jr. that went there and lost to George Groves, Triple G annihilates that guy. But it's different now, right? I always hear me talk about moments in time. This moment in time, things have changed. And I think we'd have to kind of shift towards favoring Eubank Jr. and winning that fight. He can box, he has speed, he has power, he has awareness, IQ. He has youth on his side. Triple G, like I said, I'm just not sure him with this being afraid to throw his right hand, trying to float like a butterfly. I'm just not sure that's going to cut it against a guy like Eubank Jr., who's not going to be discouraged because you hit him hard. That he's not going to stand there for you to just, wail on him. Like, that's just not how Eubank Jr. fights. So if he doesn't want to fight Eubank Jr., who's the second guy on the list, the third guy would be for him to go home for a big homecoming fight And what a good fight back in Kazakhstan would be against his fellow countryman, Janimeb Alimkhanuly. Probably butchered his name, but that's his countryman. They're both from Kazakhstan. And his countryman was elevated to the WBO status when Demetrius Andre decided to move up in weight. Some people say Demetrius Andre didn't want to fight the guy, Alimkhanuly. But anyway, he was elevated, so he has a belt now. He's a champion. Now, it would offer Triple G a huge homecoming fight with 3 of the 4 belts on the line. And that would be a big fight for Triple G. He'll be back home. And I think that guy would be a great dance partner for him. Plus, the guy's young. He's 29 years old. So that would be, again, a situation where it's, the old, experienced veteran against the young gun. And a lot of people are saying that this guy, Alimkhanuly, people do not want to fight him. That he's a hard hitter, he's a good boxer, and that Triple G would probably lose that fight. It could be a matter of just passing of the torch from one Kazakh native to another Kazakh native. But if he decides not to go home and fight because he doesn't want to get his butt kicked in front of family and friends, well, he can get an easy win against the Burger Bandit, Mr. Fractured Orbital Bone, Mr. Big Mouth, Billy Joe Saunders. Now, Billy Joe Saunders is running around here looking like a swollen French bread these days. Like he lotions up with garlic butter, right? His fat ass, and don't get me wrong, I normally don't talk so crazy about boxers, but this guy has been so nasty towards people with his horrible mouth that I don't respect him. I don't. As a boxer, yeah. As a human, I don't respect him. I think he's a complete idiot. But at the end of the day, fat ass is looking like he may be trying to make a comeback. And Saunders, who's 33, is yet to return to the ring since defeating, having those 4 fractures in his face when he lost to Canelo in May of 2021. And the slick southpaw is talking about he'll only return for big fights. And what bigger fight than him to come back there and fight Triple G? Now, Saunders long wanted to face Triple G while he was the middleweight champ, but the stars were never able to align. But now they can finally align for him right now. And that will give probably Saunders the motivation he needs to come back and get in the ring against a big name. Problem is, Saunders is in there with a big puncher, and I'm not sure Saunders has the pop to deter Triple G. And if Triple G gets back to be that kind of frontward focus type fighter, and with Saunders already having that 4 fractures in that right orbital, Triple G could come back and definitely bust him up again, because Triple G has a good strong jab, and you can see remnants of like a Margarito Cotto, where Pacquiao damaged the eye for him. Margarito got in there with Cotto. Cotto was hitting him with that left jab and just caused that eye to swell up again. So I think that could be the exact same thing we see with Triple G Saunders. And Saunders isn't stupid. He's an idiot. He's an ignorant ass, but he's not stupid. He knows better than to get in there with a guy like Triple G, or probably his most lethal asset or most lethal weapon in that ring is that damn totem pole-like jab. That jackhammer-like jab. He knows he can't afford his right eye to be right in the line for it. He's going to get hit with it. So he's not going to sit there and risk getting his eye, mashed up again just to come in there and get a $15 million payday, $10 million payday. He's not going to do that. But there's a reason why Saunders hasn't returned to the ring. He's gained a lot of weight. He's gone through depression. All the things that he made fun of other fighters for as a result of them getting defeated or whatever, he's going through it now. So again, there's a reason for him not returning to the ring. But if he was to come back, hey, Golovkin is saying he wants to fight him. So those are 4 names we just rattled off. Charlo, we rattled off the Kazakhstani guy, Saunders, and then Eubank Jr. But the person on here who I think will be a good fight for him, for Triple G, but also it's very risky. Very risky. Billy Joe Saunders that's food. That's easy food right there. It's easy to consume that and digest it, right? Billy Joe Saunders is the easiest fighter on this list. The next one, I would say maybe Eubank Jr. Then maybe the Kazakhstan native. Then Munguia and Charlo. Then maybe Munguia, then Charlo. But Charlo would definitely be, in my opinion, the toughest test. But when it comes to stylistically just a problem for Triple G, this guy Munguia comes to fight. You gotta kill Munguia. Like, I really think Munguia is an alien. I don't think he's from Mexico. I think he's from Pluto. He's not from Mexico. He's from Pluto. I think he's an alien. But at the same time, they're not really putting him in there with a killer. They need to put Munguia in there with a killer. And this is a good opportunity since Triple G is talking about coming back and fighting 160. He's talking about these names. This is the fight that Munguia needs and Triple G needs. This is what they need. If Triple G can clip Munguia, no one's been able to do it. True, Munguia hasn't went and fought any elite opposition, but he's active, he's busy, and he's showing that he's getting better out there with Eric Morales. But Oscar De La Hoya, whatever, this man had an epiphany or what, he wants to work with everyone. I can see him wanting to make that fight now and putting Triple G in there against a big name like Golovkin. And I think Munguia beats Triple G for several reasons. Because look, Munguia 25 is considered the next Mexican boxing hope, whether you agree with that or not. You know, climbing the ladder as 40-0, unbeaten former light middleweight champion. So while Golovkin's rivalry with Canelo, we could say it's settled now. There's no need to fight anymore. He could be convinced into another Mexican showdown, which could be with Munguia. Although it would not have a title on the line, that may not appeal to Triple G, but it appeals to boxing fans, and that could help Triple G to get a bit more momentum behind him, especially after looking kind of old against the Japanese fighter, and then looking a little bit old, and he just didn't look as committed as we would have liked. He looked too hesitant. Like I said about Lomachenko and Teofimo, that's kind of like Triple G and Canelo in this fight. Really hesitant, not sure what he wanted to do. But for him to come in here with a guy like Munguia, he's going to have to figure that out. But that could appeal to Triple G to take this fight and could get some more momentum behind his name and show that he's not old. He still has some life in him. But that is not an easy fight, man. But Munguia is definitely the next hope in Mexican boxing. And Triple G will be a good, what's that they say, a stepping stone. He'd be a good stepping stone for Munguia. But outside of those names at 160, and those are big names, right? But I'm just not sure what else Triple G can go and do. There's no need to me, in my opinion, he doesn't need to go up to 168, 175. I think the first and foremost, Triple G, man, needs to just figure out what's his boxing style going to be. He's conflicted. In his stomach, Triple G wants to fight. He wants to fight, but he's trying to follow the game plan. But that guy Banks, man, people keep talking about, oh, Banks and what Banks did with Klitschko. Banks didn't do a damn thing with Klitschko. Emmanuel Stewart did. You watch when Banks was giving Klitschko directions in the corners. Klitschko wasn't listening to his ass. Good thing that, too bad YouTube, when you take, if I was going to find clips of the stuff I'm talking about and post it on my page, man, YouTube will hit me with all kind of copyright stuff, man. And then there's sometimes where they allow you to keep it on your page. You can't monetize it, which I'm not monetized anyway. But but you can still have it on your. But man, at any point, the person who allows you to post that footage, if they decide they don't want to, then you get a damn strike. You know what I'm saying? So I don't play with that. But back to what I was saying. When it comes to Banks, man, you watch. Klitschko ain't listening to him. Klitschko is going off of everything that Emmanuel Stewart taught him. That's what he was going off. Banks was just there. Basically just like, kind of parroting everything that he heard Manny say. And then, remember, Vladimir had his brother Vitaly in the corner too. You think Vitaly don't know what the hell he's doing? Vitaly know how to fight. He ill-advised him when he went in there and fought AJ and told him to just don't go and try to knock him out, because AJ should have never got out of that fight with Klitschko, but it is what it is. Again, he had Banks in that corner. Stupid. So to me, Gennady, sometimes you gotta sit your pride aside, man, and just put your pride aside and get back with Abel Sanchez. The mustache Sanchez. That's what he needs to do. because he gonna get his ass hurt, man. Coming around here trying to float like a butterfly. Nah, man, you a guy. You don't float like a butterfly. You don't sting like a bee, man. You roar like a lion. You kill shit. Like that's what you do, Triple G. And you don't have much left as far as your lifespan in boxing. So while you still got the energy and strength to roam the kingdom and dominate, do it, because it's gonna come a point where some other young lion will come up there, and he ain't just gonna barely get by you like Canelo did. No, he gonna hurt you bad. And that's what you see happening out there, man, in the wild. And that's what this boxing is. Boxing is like a damn jungle. Only the strongest survive. And you watch with them lions, when them young lions come up and the dominant lion, and they don't want his ass there no more, look what they do to him. Nothing nice. Sometimes it's to the death. And that's what we don't want to see happen to Triple G, man. Get his ass beat down so bad to take serious injuries. Just make the changes now or retire. But those are the 5 fights for Gennady Golovkin as the legend refuses retirement. No matter what he does, I'll probably tune into his fight, especially if he fights Charlo, Munguia, or any of these 5 names. I'll watch him, man. See how he looks in his next fight. So hopefully he makes the right changes. That being said, y'all keep cool. I appreciate the support from the United States, the Caribbean, Africa, the UK, guys in between, some Ukrainians on here too, man. It really, throughout all the continents, okay? That way I cover everybody. Really appreciate anyone who subscribed. It means a lot to me, man. Let's get to 1,000. I appreciate it. Y'all keep cool, and I'm in the breeze.